boys and girls, it's Miss Bissell. We are back today working on, lesson 14.2. We are going to be graphing data using ordered pairs. We are in our book on page 570, so we can take a minute to look at the essential question for today. You really just need a pencil and your book, so if you need to go get either one, pause me and come back in as soon as you can. All right, our essential question for today is, how do you graph a point on a coordinate grid? So graph means how do you put the point on the coordinate grid? And the coordinate grid we talked about yesterday is this wonderful tool where we actually have the X number line and the Y number line meeting. And I believe this is my drawing from yesterday. And we talked about how we are working in quadrant 1, which are where the positive numbers are in the coordinate grid. So the origin is at 0, 0. And when we focus in on just quadrant 1, this is what it looks like when we draw it without quadrants 2, 3, and 4. All right, so yesterday we worked on naming points and locating points on the coordinate grid. Today we're going to graph them ourselves. So I'm actually going to start with the solve and share problem on page 569. So we are going to graph and label the point for each ordered pair below on the grid. Then we're going to connect the points with line segments to form a shape, and we're going to talk about what shape we drew. So if you need to review some of your shapes, I have a short list of polygons that we put in your math journals last week. Thursday, you were to glue those in. I believe it's page 46 if you want to look at and review some of the polygons. All right, so the 5th grade helper gives us a tip that you can graph points on a coordinate grid, show your work. So let's look at point A and let's talk about it. So we talked about an ordered pair being an address of where something can be located. And we talked about the first number is the X value and the second number is the Y value. So what that means is the X value is the number of units you move to the right in quadrant 1 from the origin along the x-axis. The Y value is the number of units you move above the origin along the y-axis, and they're labeled. You can see the increments are by 1, real easy to read. So if you remember the tip from yesterday, you know X comes before Y when you write your ordered pairs, and you learn that if you start at the origin and you run along the X before you can jump on the Y, then you can keep things pretty much in order and not backwards. All right, so we need to plot point A. So if you read this, it tells me its X value is 2. So I start at the origin and I move over 2 along the x-axis. So I run 2 on the X before I jump up 1 on the Y. So watch this, over 2, up 1. I make my point. It's just like a big fat period. And then I label it with a capital letter. Points are capital letters. And that is 2, 1. All right, point B. We're going to start along the origin and we're moving over 5 units along the X and jumping up 1 on the Y. So we move over 5, up 1. Point B. We put the point and we label it with a capital letter, B. And I notice they are on the same line that runs horizontally. They're on the same Y value, 1. All right, they're just 3 units apart. All right. Now, I know they're 3 units apart because I can count. I put my pencil here. I go over 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. All right, let's look at point C. We need to plot or graph point C at 5, 4. So we start at the origin and we go along the X to the 5 and we go up along the Y to the 4. So we're stopping right here. This is point C. All right, point D. We're moving from the origin. We move along the x-axis and we run over 2 and we jump up to the 4. And we have point D. Now the question is, what shape did we draw? Well, let's connect the points. So from A to B, from B to C, from C to D, and then from D back to A. Now, what is this that I just drew? All right, you could have named a couple things, but most specifically, what did I just draw? All right, I get that it's a quadrilateral, but that's not the most specific name. I know that it's a parallelogram. That's not the most specific name. I know it's a rectangle, but that's not the most specific name. All right, what's the most specific name for this? This is a square. I know it's a square because I have equivalent lines. All four opposite line, the opposite lines are all the same length, meaning they're all 3 units long. Check them. 3 units. All right. One thing I can look at is from the 2 to a 5, that's 3 units. And then the one that differs here is the, let's see, the 5 and the 2, 3 units, right? And 1 to a 4 is the other one, 4 units. Or, yeah, sorry, 3. All right, what tool could you use to connect the points if you're looking at the look back? Guys, I used a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can use some kind of a straight edge, even if it's just rolling up a piece of paper and neatly making a thick edge by making your own ruler. All right. The question on page 570. Let's move over there. So we want to know, here's our essential question for today. How do you graph a point on a coordinate grid? If you understood what we just did, you're probably thinking this is really easy. So the table below shows the growth of a plant over a period of several days. Graph the ordered pairs to show the plant's growth. All right, so let's take a look at it. Now, when we have a table that's written horizontally like this, I'm going to go ahead and let you know that the top number or the top row is usually your X value and the bottom's the Y. All right, X comes before Y. So the boy says, let X be the number of days, all right, and let Y be the height of the plant in centimeters. And that's what we did, okay? So when you have a table that goes horizontally as this one does, your top data is going to be your X value and the bottom's going to be your Y. If your table goes vertically and you have a left and a right side, your left side is your X value and the right is the Y. Easy to remember, X before Y. All right, so the first day the plant measured 4 centimeters. The second day, we skipped to the third day. The third day the plant measured 8. The 5th day, the plant measured 10 centimeters. The 7th day, the plant measured 11. And the 9th day, it measured 14. So what we've got here are the ordered pairs. So we've got the day and the height to create the ordered pair. So the X value is 1, the Y value is 4 for the first ordered pair. The second ordered pair, the X value is 3, the Y value is 8. The third, the X value is 5, the Y is 10. I think you're getting it here. The next ordered pair, the X value is 7, the Y is 11. And the last ordered pair, the X value is 9 and the Y is 14. So step 1, once we have our tables, and we've written these values in as ordered pairs, now we're going to graph the first point at the first ordered pair of 1, 4. So just a reminder, we start at 0, the origin, and we move along the x-axis 1 unit. Then we move up the y-axis 4. So don't forget, we start at the origin and we run along the x before we jump to the y. And then for step 2, we're going to plant the rest of the ordered pairs from the table, and then we're going to use a ruler to connect the points. So we done this one. The next ordered pair is 3, 8. So we're going to go over 3 on the X. So that's going to be right there in the middle of 2 and 4. and we're going up 8 units. So we move up, and 8 is right here. Okay, so this is going to be our second ordered pair. All right, think about that a minute. All right, our next ordered pair, we are going to go over, we'll cross that one, 5 and up 10. So over to the 5, up to the 10. All right. The next ordered pair, 7, 11. We start at the 0. We go over 7. We go up 11. Now 11 is going to be in the middle of 10 and 12. So just like 7's between 6 and 8, but it's kind of on its own vertical line. We've got to do that. All right. And our last ordered pair, 9, 14. So we start at the origin, we go over 9, we stop right here between 8 and 10, we go up 14. Stop right here. All right, and then to graph or to plot them, we use, or to, connect the points, we use a ruler. Or another straight edge. If you don't have a ruler, like I said, you can roll paper or fold paper several times and make a nice crease on it. All right, something like that. All right, now that we've done this, we can actually answer some questions. So look at our information. You can pause if you need a minute to get yours graphed. Based on the data, about how tall was the plant on day 4 and then day 8? So let's take a look at where the plant was on day 4. All right, so our day is along the x-axis. So day 4, we've got a point right here. It actually looks like it's between 8 and 10. And it's an about, doesn't say exactly. So I would say that on day 4, the plant is about, we were between 8 and 10. So let's make it about 9 centimeters. Okay. Day 8. Let's go up and look at about where the plant is on day 8. So day 8, I go over, I follow it up, and I see that the line crosses right here on day 8. And when I look, that's pretty much between 12 and 14. So on day 8, it's going to be about, we said it was between 12 and 14. So I would say that it's about 13 centimeters. Wouldn't you agree? All right. Any questions on that? I think we're good. All right, let's move over and let's do a couple on the next page, 571. All right, at any point, if you feel like you're starting to get lost, go back to the beginning and watch back to this point, okay? That's the beauty of having a video. All right, number 1, Natalie is graphing point T at 1, 8. Should she move to the right 8 units or up 8 units? Explain. All right, let's think about it. We've got the first number is the x value and the second is the y. So think about that little trick I taught you. Start at the origin. You're going to run on the x to 1 and up to 8. So what are we doing first? All right, we're not going to go up 4 units or 8 units. We're going up 8 units, not over 8 units, right? We're going to go over the 1 and up the 8. So the question was, go back to the question, I'm sorry, I don't mean to confuse you. Should she move to the right 8 units or should she move up? And because that is your y value, you move up the 8 units, okay? Up 8 units is what you're going to do first, or do with that. And the explanation is that the y-coordinate names the distance from the origin moving up along the y-axis. So the y-coordinate, and you can abbreviate it, the y-coord names the distance from the origin. And the origin is 0, 0, moving up along the y-axis. Okay, pause the video if you need a minute to write that. All right, we're going to describe how to get or how to graph the point CD. So if we're looking at CD, where are we starting? That's correct. We start at the origin. Always start at the origin. The origin is 0, 0. We are going to move C units which direction? To the right. We don't know what C is, so we're just going to say move C units to the right of the origin. Then, what are we going to do? We're going to move up D units. So whatever D represents, we're going to go up D units. So we're going to go over C and up D. All right, take a minute, pause the video if you need to write that. All right, the next problems, 3 through 6. We're going to graph these points and label it with the appropriate letter. Don't forget when we label points, capital letters. So you can pause the video if you think you're ready to roll on this. If not, just stay with me. We're going to start at the origin each time. For point E, we go over 1 unit from the origin to the right, and up 3. So right here is where we're going to plot point E. Point F, start at the origin. We go over 4 on the x-axis, and we jump up 4 on the y. And here we have point F. Point G, 5, 2. Always start at the origin. We move along the x5. We move up 2. G. Point H, the 0. We don't move any units to the right, so we stay where we are when we jump up 2 on the y. And this is where we plot point H. I say plot it or graph it. You'll hear me use both those verbs. All right, so there it is. Hey, for fun, let's see what we drew. If we connect the points. What is that? What is that, boys and girls? 4 sides. Think about what shape that is. We'll come back to that later. All right. Now, actually, it's a trapezoid. All right. It's not a regular one like the tables in the classroom. All right. I don't want to forget to come back to it later. All right. 7 through 18. These go really quickly. All right. We're going to graph and label each point on the grid at the right. Don't fly through this. Be neat, please. Point J is going to be located at 2, 6. So we're going to start at the origin. The 2 tells me I'm going to move 2 to the right from the origin. The 6 tells me then I'm going to go up or jump up on the Y to the 6. So we're going to plot it right here, J. All right. So I want you to pause the video real quick. And I want you to plot what you can here and then come back and look at what I've done. All right, here we go. All right, these are all the locations. So each one of these, if you plotted them correctly, you should have started at the origin. The first number is how far you move over to the right on the Y or on the x-axis. We call it running on the X before you jump on the Y. All right, so take a minute and take a look at how you did. All right, so the questions are, how do you graph a point on a coordinate grid? So I think you should be able to answer that question. We start at the origin. Excuse me. We move over on the x-axis the number of units that are the first number in the ordered pair, and we move up on the y-axis the number of units that are second. So if we had 2, 5, that means we'd start at the origin, we'd move over 2 on the x-axis and up 5 on the y, draw our point and label it. All right, boys and girls, your assignment is in your practice buddy. Make sure you do your best. I don't think you need any paper for what you're going to be doing. If you do it, it'll just be a scratch sheet of paper. When you finish that, don't forget you have 2 weekly review problems that you need to do your best on. And, if you have some time and you feel like you need to do some more math, why don't you log in and through your class link and work on one lesson in Dreambox. All right. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.